Hello, everybody. I'm Chris George, and I'm here with my fantastic co-host, Victor the Voice Fuhrman, and you're listening to The Red Room Crossing the Line. Victor, good to have you here, buddy. What's going on?
Great to be here tonight, Chris. We're going to introduce a new feature on the show this week. We'll have it a little bit later. It's going to be called Product of the Week.
Product of the Week. I like that. I just want to announce a couple of shows that we will be doing on the Red Room. We're going to have one show where it's going to be call-ins talking about their wildest sexual experience. We're going to do a show with the worst sexual experience. We're going to do a show with the weirdest sexual experience. Next week, I believe we have a guy coming on who has an adult sex game. He will be quizzing Victor and I, and callers will call in, and he'll quiz them. And if the callers get 2 questions correct, they'll win a shot glass. And if they get 3 questions correct, they will win the actual sex game. So next week should be a lot of fun, too. We got a lot of fun shows coming up. We will push the envelope. There's nothing we won't talk about, and we're going to keep it real on this show. What do you think about that, Vic?
I think we should absolutely keep it real, and that's why our guest expert, is the world's famous author, Charlotte Rose.
All right.
Charlotte Rose writes hot romance column for the Three Tomatoes website. She has a new one in there about Mr. Grey, and for those of you who are familiar with 50 Shades of Grey, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's www.the3tomatoes.com. She's the resident expert there on love, sex, and hot men, 50 Shades of Grey, and the new erotic revolution. So everybody make sure that you get in there and see her articles. She's a journalist and has been covering sexuality for more than 20 years, writing erotic fiction way before anyone admitted to doing it. She began her sex writing career after answering an ad in the New York Times for a writer who could add steamy scenes to existing fiction books. Hired on the spot, she ended up editing 30 books and writing several of her own. She took a break to raise her child, focus on married life, and pursue different kinds of writing until 50 Shades of Grey. That book inspired her to come back into the sex beat. She was once a contributing editor to Playgirl magazine and continues to have great appreciation for handsome men who are wearing nothing but shirts. Or we're not wearing shirts, sorry. She's the author of 4 erotic romance novels and is working on a new one that is due out this fall. So again, the3tomatoes.com. Charlotte Rose. Good evening, Charlotte.
Good evening. Good evening. I hope you guys have your shirts off.
Oh,
I have everything off, Charlotte. I don't want to drive you crazy. I don't know if you've ever seen a picture of me, but I'm not much to look at. But I am sitting here naked right now, just waiting for Chrissy to get here, and hopefully I can get her naked at the same time. Good,
getting into the spirit of things.
Always, Charlotte. If anything else, I'm always in the spirit. And the buff. That's a whole other story. So listen, we're talking. Last week we talked about the female orgasm, and I mean that's a subject that isn't touched too much on radio. And
Wait a minute. What's not touched too much?
Well, well, maybe it does get touched more than we think, but not on radio. And I think that last week we had a really great debut show, and I got so much feedback about the show, and people just loved the fact that we had no problem talking about orgasms, and the girls that called in were crazy and having a good time, and one of them is in the chat room right now, Tammy, and I'm sure she'll call in a little bit later. I have somebody from Texas who's going to be calling in a little bit later who says he's got something to say about the male orgasm. God knows what he's going to say. And I don't know, I'm just looking forward to the show because this is a subject that, I mean, let's face it, how many people talk about orgasms on the air? Not many. And we are doing it now and talking sex and everything else, and this is going to be a lot of fun tonight.
Awesome.
Hey, Chris, if he comes from Texas, does that make him a straight shooter?
He's definitely a straight shooter. They say everything is bigger in Texas, especially the orgasms. So I'm going to ask him about that, and we'll get to the bottom of it. I tend to think that the orgasms are pretty big in New York as well.
I guess that makes him a Longhorn also.
He's definitely a Longhorn, and we can bring that up too. So Charlotte, what did you think about last week's show? I mean, coming on, I mean, you being a sex expert, I know you talk about this all the time, but have you talked about it much on the air?
Well, over the years, I've talked a bit about orgasms, but I think it's great what you did. You put, you brought together a lot of ideas, and you brought some concepts out into the open. And I think, the fact that you really honored and gave airtime to the female orgasm and female pleasure is a huge plus, and it's something that needs to be discussed. And I think coming from you two guys, that you've got a message also for men to pay more attention to it.
Oh, damn right. I learned a long time ago. I'm going to be 45. I'll age myself. I'm going to be 45 in December, and I learned a long time ago that if you keep your woman happy, everything just seems to work out better. And if you concentrate more on the lady while you're making love, you'll always wind up getting taken care of in the end. But always take care of them first, and that's what keeps relationships, happy. Keeps the women happy. That and buying them shoes. But right. you give a woman a nice, strong, steady dose of orgasms, and you got nothing to worry about. So,
well, I think that's a great philosophy, Chris, because it's very easy for a man to get aroused and have an orgasm. It can happen really quickly, but as we talked about last week, it takes a lot longer. Women need more attention and love and touching and foreplay. So I'm glad that we're focusing on that.
Yeah, and speaking of getting aroused, I just got aroused because the lovely Chrissy just walked in, and she's here with us. Say hi to everyone, Chrissy.
Hi, everybody.
Hi,
Hey,
Chrissy.
Oh.
Listen, Chris, I think based on what Charlotte just said, this would be a perfect time to introduce our new feature, Product of the Week. And the reason I'm going to do this is I have a friend who works for a website where they get samples of various products that would be of interest to the audience that we're catering to on this show. And this product is called V Magic Vulva Care and Intimate Skin Cream.
V Magic. Come on,
Magic.
Lay it out there. What is this?
I will take a picture of this and I will send this to you, Chris. It says V Magic Vulva Care and Intimate Skin Cream. And what it says is the V Magic is an all-natural vulva and intimate skin cream that soothes, protects, and contains and takes care of sensitive and tender skin. Now, for those of our audience, mostly the men who've never heard the word vulva or don't know what the vulva is,
they better know what a vulva is, Victor.
Well, you'd be surprised. I invite them to go to Wikipedia.com and put in the search term, vulva, V-U-L-V-A, and Wikipedia actually has 4 photographs of 4 women's vulvas. And it's on it. I can't believe. So this is actually not Wikipedia. I would say this is Wikipornia. But can you imagine some kid?
I just got to interject 1 second. Because something that has been brought to my attention. Women think that all vaginas look alike. And me being a connoisseur of the vagina, of the vajayjay, of the vagine, whatever you want to call it.
I'm sorry. Are you a connoisseur, did you say?
I am a connoisseur.
Connoisseur, very good. Okay,
yes, I am a vegetarian from way back, Victor. And the thing is, I know from experience that not all vajayjays look the same. Some of them are very beautiful, and some of them are almost hideous to look at. Some of them don't even look like vajayjays. So for those of you ladies who think that the vagina always looks the same, you haven't looked at too many vaginas. Victor, please help me out here.
So it would be a good opportunity to go to Wikipedia and put in the search term vulva and see what it looks like. But my recollection, I saw Andrew Dice Clay years ago when he would perform his show, and he talked about his girlfriend when they first got together. Her vagina was tight and wonderful, and after a few years, it's like 2 veal cutlets hanging down. I'll never forget that description.
I remembered that. Listen, I knew a girl who looked like she had scissoline down there. I knew a girl who looked like she had 2 bungee cords hanging.
You're really empowering the ladies now. There was an exhibition in the 80s called, what was it called? It was by Judy Chicago, and it was a table of plates shaped like vaginas and named after women in history, and it basically was showing that every woman's vagina is different, just like you're saying, and that we need to kind of honor the fact that it just looks different for some people.
Yeah, and that's okay. I mean, variety is the spice of life. But let me tell you something, Charlotte. When you have two lips that look like bungee cords that you could, get on top of like a mountain and jump down and up and down, you got to do something about that. They have the JJ surgery that you could get that fixed. Am I right?
They do. There are women who actually get that kind of surgery that really cuts away the extra meat down there. And they do, a lot of women report they'll go through the pain to just feel better and feel more sensual and feel more comfortable in their skin. And the Judy Chicago thing was called the dinner project, the dinner table.
And I bet you those plates were licked clean after the meal. Is that true?
Some would say.
They better have been.
Well, listen, Tommy in our chat room is saying that the reason they're like bungee cords is so that the crabs can bungee jump.
Hey, listen, even the crabs got to have fun, I guess. But listen, I have a question I want to put out there, and I'm going to, I want people to call in. I want at least one guy to call in, and I want at least one girl to call in, okay? And my thing is, I want to know who has the most explosive orgasm. Is it men or is it women? And guys, girls, call in, and we'll get a little debate going on that, because this is something that I've had a debate with Chrissy, and Chrissy seems to think that women have the more explosive type orgasms, and I say, well, you've never experienced my orgasm. I mean, I'm Catholic, but I'm not religious, and it seems like every time I have one, I become like a preacher. I'm like, oh God, Jesus Christ, Lord help me, oh my God. I become religious, and I'm telling you that is pretty friggin' intense. So the fact that she says that the female orgasm is much more intense, it's something that I need to debate. So what do you think?
Chris, to your point, I just want to invite our visitors to go to one other place on Wikipedia, and while you're in Wikipedia, put in the search term ejaculation, EJACULATION, and scroll down, and they actually have a video of an ejaculating penis on Wikipedia. It's unbelievable.
Well, listen, Tiffany's behind the glass, and she's taking the phone calls. And Tiffany, as soon as you get somebody calling in, a guy, bring him on, and then I'd like to invite you on as well, because I know that you have something to say on the subject, and you could join us at any time. As soon as we get a caller, bring them on, and you come on as well. But while we're waiting for that, I have a few facts that I want to throw out there, and Charlotte, you can comment on this at any point, okay? And I know, Victor, you have some facts as well, so we'll throw them out there back and forth, okay?
Yes, I do.
We're going to double team Charlotte now. You ready?
Yeah.
Did I say that?
Wait. What'd you say? We're going to what?
I didn't say nothing. You heard nothing. That's my story, and I'm into it.
Okay, there you go.
Okay. It has been calculated that the average male will orgasm enough fluid over his lifetime to fill a 1-gallon milk carton 14 times.
Whoa.
Oh,
Whoa.
That's a lot of spaghetti.
You know something? You kind of have to do the math on that. I haven't seen that figure per se, but say the average ejaculate can have, say, like 0.2 to 10 millimeters, 1 point to 10 millimeters, and that's roughly 5 millimeters per teaspoon or 15 millimeters per tablespoon, multiplied by, I don't know how many times you come in your lifetime, and you kind of have to figure out, is it quarts or gallons, and, did you have a dry spell one year? Was 1 year a very good year, or were you in a 5-year relationship where you're having sex 5 times a week? It's kind of varies from man to man, but you basically can add it up maybe a little more easily by tablespoon.
But you know what's gray and comes in quarts? Elephants.
This is true. I actually saw a video of that, and it was pretty disturbing, actually. Very disturbing. Okay, we have a caller, so let's get the caller on. Do we have a caller?
Yeah, this is Connor.
Connor J. Now, let me tell you guys something about Connor J. I met
Connor J.
Connor. Chrissy's here. She said hello.
Connor J.
How are you?
Connor is a friend of mine that I met on some app online, and we've become very, very good friends. And he actually came to visit me for the 4th of July weekend for 4 days. We had a great time. And Connor seems to think that everything is bigger in Texas, including the orgasm. Now, the question I have for you, Connor, is this. Chrissy and I have debated this, and she seems to think that the female orgasm is more explosive than the male orgasm. I tell her she's smoking crack because the male orgasm is by far more potent and bigger than the female orgasm. What do you think about that?
I understand what you're saying, but and I do agree with you. The female orgasm can be more explosive than the male orgasm.
And why is that?
Because here in the South, see, we do things a little different than you boys up there in the North.
Oh, yeah? And how's that?
Well, see, we always manage to give our female partners the massive orgasm first. Then that's when the male can experience the massive orgasm following that. Because she's always to the man.
But what you're saying is that, Victor, and you better help me out here, and I know you have my back on this, okay? Now, this is going to be the North versus the South. You're saying that in the South that you guys take care of the woman better than us up here in the Northeast. And I'm going to tell you, you're crazy, because let me explain to you. Here in the Northeast, there's a lot of Italian-American men. And Italian-American men, okay, and Jewish men and everything else, we really get into our women, and we do our best to satisfy our women as well. I mean, don't you think, Vic?
Oh, absolutely. And, Chris, by the way, do you know the difference between Italian men and Jewish men?
About 4 inches?
No, actually, the difference between Italian men and Jewish men is that Jewish men have it cut off, and Italian men wear it off.
But Connor, really, I mean, other than the fact that in the South, the men are very much.
And I do apologize. I shouldn't have thrown out the Southern thing on you like that in the public forum here. I should have just eased back on that. But I'm like you. Me and you are a lot alike. Me and you are a brother from another mother.
Yes, I am.
And I will agree with you. I will agree with you 100% that, yes, we both go in 100% on our women.
That's right. Well, I'm going to throw out a fact out there, and this is for everyone in our conversation. They say that the average speed of the ejaculation that a man has is 28 miles per hour. Now, I'm saying this. All I'm saying is you could take an eye out with that. Charlotte, is that about right, 28 miles an hour?
I read that as coming from Kinsey. I couldn't find it when I was really researching the Kinsey material. But, Kinsey did a lot of measurements of things like that. And, I kind of wondered, do they measure ejaculation the way they measure a pitcher's speed at the Yankees? With a little measurement technique. And why?
Radar gun, a jugs gun.
Why do we measure the speed? I mean, it's such a guy thing that it has to have speed, velocity. We have to know how fast we can do it.
That's crazy.
No, hold up.
This is Chris George, and now let's see, he's going the wind-up and the pitch, and that was at 97 miles an hour.
Well, I have another fact, and this kind of blew me away because I've tried this before, and I've probably gotten about 6 to 8 feet, but a male in a high degree of sexual excitement is capable of ejaculating his semen 24 feet or greater. Now, first of all, to ejaculate 24 feet, you have to have a 2-foot cock. You can't do that with a normal size piece of deal. There's no way. 24 feet, that just seems absurd to me.
Well,
Well,
why does
Chris-
a highly aroused
Chris,
guy want to ejaculate it away from? I mean, if it's not a masturbation situation, why would he want to ejaculate away from the woman and not?
I have no idea. That's my whole
Totally
point.
agree with all this.
You
Connor,
agree with
Connor,
it?
this is Victor. Connor, this is Victor. We've never met, but I understand that. I have
Victor,
a lot of
I met
friends.
you.
We
I
did
met
meet.
you. Yes,
We
sir.
did. I don't recall, but that's okay. We'll figure that out because my memory. I'm 60 and I'm losing my mind. But I have friends from Texas, and I was told that Texans do it with 6-shooters. Is that true?
Man, we do it with 6-shooters, side shooters, any way shooter you want it done.
All right.
I mean,
Yeah,
we go at it. I mean, we go at it balls to the wall. We go at it hardcore down here.
Can you do it hanging off a horse? That's all I want to know.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay,
Yes,
Ken, I have a question for you. And Victor, I'm going to throw the question at you as well. Since, listen, this is an interactive show, and if there are anybody else that wants to call in, please call in now. Connor and Victor.
Yes, sir.
If you had to estimate the furthest you ever shot, what would it be? And don't exaggerate. Don't give me the everything
I'm
is
not
bigger.
bullshitting. I'm not. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't think I can say that on there.
You can say whatever you want.
I am not joking with you when I tell you this. Damn. I mean, can I get graphic here?
Say what you
Go ahead. Say anything you want to say.
Okay. I had this girl going down on me. Man, I was like, here it comes. I mean, you're going to have to make a choice. Here, I've given you the warning. Here it comes. All right, well, she pulled up, and I am not joking you, Christopher, shot completely over my head.
Over your head.
Over my head. I'm telling you, I was dodging.
It's like having to clean up the chandeliers after sex.
I'm laying down. Now you got to picture this though. I'm laying down on my back, and everything's going on, and she stops, and she's gonna help me finish off there, and I'm not lying, Christopher. Oh, I had actually turned my head because it went by my head.
Connor,
and landed on my pillow.
With that.
Connor, was her name Annie Oakley? I just want to find out. Was her name Annie Oakley?
No, I got rid of Annie Oakley a long time ago.
Trick shooter, right? She's a trick shooter? Oh, no, never mind.
Annie Oakley. I retired Annie Oakley.
Oh, you retired her. Well, listen, if you almost took your own eye out, I got to tell you, you know what? Maybe everything is bigger in Texas. I gotta give you a hand there. I'm gonna clap for you. That's not bad.
Chris?
That's not bad.
Okay.
Hey, Tiffany, why don't you come on the line with us, Tiff?
Chris, you want to hear my story?
Say that again, Victor?
Do you want to hear my story about my distance?
Absolutely.
Okay. When I was a much younger man, way back when, in my early 20s, in a very passionate relationship, I withdrew, and the distance would have been from the vagina above her head to the headboard. It would have been 3.5 to 4 feet.
Not bad. Well, I'll tell you my story. I broke a rib once. That's a whole other story. We'll get into that.
You broke a rib?
When we talk about weird sex things. Tiffany, are you with us?
I am.
All right, Tiffany. Everybody, Tiffany is the owner of DTM and the producer of this show, and she has a standing invitation to come on at any time she wants on the show. And what I like about Tiffany is she's a twisted and warped woman, and I don't know how her husband Denny deals with her because he seems like a very mild-mannered, really laid-back kind of guy. Now, I might be wrong on this. I don't get psychic on this show, but my first impression is he's a very laid-back kind of guy, and Tiffany is more of the wild, let it be kind of girl and tells it like it is, which I very much respect. Tiffany, in your experience, the male orgasm or the female orgasm, which is bigger?
You know what? I'm going to have to go with the male orgasm.
Woo!
Sweet.
Because you know why? It seems to last forever, and I'm totally jealous. Not only does it last forever, you guys can come on a dime, where women can't. And
this is true.
By the way, I'm just saying.
That's true. I agree with that.
Well, you're talking about speed now. You're not necessarily talking about quality, are you?
Oh, wait. Time out. My girlfriend is sitting here next to me saying, "No, this isn't true," and I'm boggled. What do you mean? Guys can come a lot quicker than girls.
Absolutely. I'm not fighting that point. What I'm fighting is that with a woman, obviously you haven't had anybody who can get you off like the typical woman orgasm.
Hey, Chris, can I? Whenever you throw me in there, just let me in there. I got something to reply on this one.
I'm curious to hear what Chris has got to say.
No, I'm not arguing the point that they come quicker. Of course, women take longer, but the whole point is when we do come, we explode.
Well, I could talk from experience. I have seen an explosion or two. What did you want to say, Connor?
Well, was that Chrissy I was listening to?
Yeah, that's Chrissy.
Yes.
Hey, Chrissy, how you doing?
Hey, but I said hello to you already. You didn't know it was me?
I wasn't 100% sure. I thought it was. All right, now this is the deal. I'm going to break it down for you, country style all the way, right here. Y'all might not ever get this again, so y'all need to pay attention.
Okay.
When you're with a woman and you're not really attracted to her, but yet you still want to get that nut off.
You're talking about a mercy fuck.
You're going to last longer than who'd have thought it.
You were talking about that earlier, Chris.
But then
he's right about this, though. I mean, if you're with a girl and then you're not really attracted to her, and it's more like, a little mercy sex, he's right. You will last longer.
Oh, but then throw one in there that you've been sexually attracted to, much less emotionally attached to.
You're going emotional on us.
Throw that one in the bed, and I bet you don't last long then. But you won't last long, but you're going to explode more.
You know what? He's got a point there. What do you think about that, Charlotte?
I totally agree. I think that, that's where you hear the guy saying, oh my God, I can't hold back anymore. What are you doing to me? Because, even men who might have normally more control, when you are so in love or in lust with somebody and you're connected to them in that way, it really, kind of draws it out of you, and it's really hard to hold back because you are so aroused, and, there's also a wanting to give to the woman and leave your seed in her, too. That happens, too.
That happens.
Oh, don't we know that?
There's something called the point of no return. Okay.
Yeah.
We have another caller, so Connor, we're gonna have to say goodbye to you, Connor. Thank you so much for calling in, and hopefully you'll call in again next week.
Thank you, Connor.
We really appreciate the phone call. We have another caller in now, though.
All right, y'all be good.
Thank you, my friend.
Take care.
Hey, Chris,
it was nice talking to all y'all. Y'all have a good night.
You too, Connor. Hey, Chris, before we take the next caller, I just want to comment on something. Did I hear you say that Denny lays back and Tiffany goes wild? Did I hear you say that before?
You did. That's what I said, yes.
Okay, that's what I thought you said. Okay.
I call it like I see it. But we have another caller. Who do we have with us now? We have a caller with us?
What's that?
Do we have a caller with us?
Hey, Chris.
Yes. Who's this?
Hey, this is your old buddy Pat from the Air Force.
Oh, my God. Now we're going back 20 years. You know what, Victor? That's what I love about this radio show now, because this is somebody who I have not spoken to. I got out of the military in 1991. That was the last time I ever spoke with Pat. Pat, how the hell are you?
Very not bad.
Very not bad. Well, that's very good. But what we were just talking about was with a guy, there's a point where, you can be giving it to a girl and having this great time, and she says, oh, you got to slow down, I don't want you to come yet, and you could stop. But then there's something that's called the point of no return, that no matter what she says, once you reach that point, there's nothing you could do about it.
That's really
You know what
true.
I'm talking about, right?
That's
it's inevitable. You're gonna shoot your load, and that's the way it is. Now, what I want to know from you is, because you had mentioned something on Facebook saying that, now I don't know if this is true or not, I'm going to put you on the spot here. We got a lot of listeners tonight. You said that after you shoot your load, your gagutsa doesn't go down and she can ride you all the way to China. Is this true?
That's true.
Okay. Now, before you go on, we have our sex expert with us, Charlotte. And Charlotte, is that a common thing when a guy, after he comes, not to have his penis go down? Because I know that ain't happening with me.
Yeah, usually a man needs a refractory period. It's like the stage 4 of the orgasm, where you lay back and have a cigarette and want a sandwich, or you take a nap. But there are some men who can keep on going. I've seen it, and I know I've heard about it, and it's not a myth. It does happen, and it doesn't happen for everybody. It doesn't happen all the time. So that point of no return is called ejaculatory inevitability. I love that phrase.
Yes, that's exactly what I saw. It's part of the process. Once you get into that, there's two things that happen. There's the emission and the ejaculation. So, the orgasm starts to explode and the ejaculate begins to come out. And those are two separate things. They don't have to happen exactly at the same time. That's the kind of the thrusting where you just keep pumping and pumping and you just can't stop. It feels like it's a little out of control.
Charlotte, would you say that 4 or 5 times in a row, please?
Okay, well, listen, I have an idea. Pat and I go back a long way, and I don't know what Pat remembers about me during my Air Force days. And Pat, I think I was kind of wild back in those days. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, Pat, you're not dating anybody right now, am I right when I say that?
I'm dating several people at the moment.
Okay, well, this is what I want to do. Pat is a really good-looking guy, and he's a great guy, and he's looking for Mrs. Right. What I'm saying we should do on one show is do like a dial-a-date type thing, where we get Patrick a date, and hopefully he'll get laid and come on and talk about it on the show. What do you think? Would you be up for that, Pat?
Oh, I'd love that.
Well,
Pat, where do you live,
just
Pat?
the people to do it.
Where does
is there
Pat
anything
live,
you
Chris?
wanted to bring to the show today? I mean, we're talking about the male orgasm. Is there anything that if you had to tell the ladies one thing about the male orgasm, what would it be?
Well, earlier you guys were talking about who's better. I think the women's are much more. I don't want to be a woman, but I'd love to know what it feels like for their orgasm. Because I've had girls climb the walls. I mean, oh my God.
No, and I do agree with that. Chrissy, okay, I'm going to put you on the spot now, okay? But forget about me. Let's take me out of the equation. When you have an orgasm, if you had to describe what it feels like, how would you describe it?
How would I describe it? Well, first of all, it's the legs start to shake.
I love the leg shake.
The legs tremble a bit. It's a feeling that just shoots through your whole body, and I can't explain it in the right way, but it's down there, but it's also all over your body. And I don't know if men feel that, but definitely makes your whole body just go into spasm.
So what you're saying is I rock your world.
You rock it, baby.
Yeah! I knew it. I just had to get her to say it on the radio. Okay, so Victor, I don't want you to hang up yet. Victor. Now,
Chris, I just want to know, where is Pat from, Chris? Pat, where are you from?
Alabama.
Alabama. Oh, that's not too far from Florida. Do we know anybody who's in Florida?
Actually we do. We have Tammy Conklin who's in Florida.
Yeah.
Tammy's a very pretty girl, and Pat is a very good-looking guy, and I think that they could hit that. I think they could hit it off big time. You know what, Pat? What I want you to do is later, when I want you to go onto my Facebook and I want you to look up Tammy Conklin. She's in the chat room right now. She's a beautiful girl. She is a psychic medium, so you won't be able to get over on her. And she is good at what she does. And I want you to check her out. And I think we should bring her on for Dial-A-Date because I think you guys would make a perfect couple.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Wait,
Hey,
Chris, she's a pretty girl, right?
Very, very, very stunning.
Stunning, she says.
Stunning.
Yeah. Well, I want you to check her out. And Tammy, what I want you to do is I want you to look up Pat on my Facebook, and I think we could do like the match game on here. I think that would be great.
Tommy just put in the chat room $24.99 a minute.
Oh man. Well, listen, I have another thing that I want to put out there, and Pat, I want your opinion on this. I have a fact that says 1 in 400 men are flexible enough to give himself oral sex. Now, first of all, why would you want to suck your own dick? Number one. That's number one. Number two, I mean, who the hell is doing this?
I know someone is doing it.
I know you're not doing this.
Hey, well, hold up. I could do that until I was 13.
That's nice. I knew I liked you, Pat. but Victor, have you ever even tried to do that?
Actually, probably a little bit older than that, but yeah, I could actually do that for a little while. Then I got fat. So, I'm not fat, but yeah,
that's pretty wild. Listen, I saw it in a movie once, and I can't do it. Jesus.
Chris, I think you have to be double jointed and about 8 inches to make that happen. I hired a nude handyman who came over once before I was married and was a mother, and he put up shelves in the nude, and then he said, "Look at this thing I can do," and he bent over and gave himself a BJ. It was like really weird but entertaining. So I have seen it.
That's crazy.
I never really measured mine, but it's roughly 6 and 57/64, I think. Something like that.
Hey, Pat, I got you beat by your 64th.
Okay, here's one.
By the way.
Here's a fact for you guys. You ready for this? The average American male will have 6,500 orgasms during his lifetime. I think I had 6,500 when I was in the military. Oh, I just said that in front of Christy. I'm sorry, baby.
It's okay, baby.
But, Pat, you probably had about the same in the military, right?
Oh, my God.
And Victor, you also were in the military. You were an Air Force man, too.
Yes, I was.
Well, listen, we're not bragging, but there's something about a man in uniform that the chicks just dig. And if you throw in the Southern accent and you throw in a New York accent, that triples the the amount of women that are attracted to you. And we just did pretty well in the military. And I remember you, Pat. I remember you had no problem picking up the ladies. So that's a cool thing. And we have another caller in the queue. If you want to put the caller through, we could take the caller now. Do we have a caller? Hello.
Still me, Chris.
Oh, okay. Well, if we have another caller,
hello.
Yes. Who do we have in the queue? Is that Tammy?
Yes, it's me.
Oh, Tammy.
Tammy, girl,
We need to introduce you to Pat. Say hi to Pat.
Hi, Pat.
Now let me do a little introduction here. Okay, Pat. Pat is someone who could suck his own penis, has had many orgasms in his life, is a very good-looking man, lives in Alabama, nice Southern gentleman. Tammy is a stunning blonde-haired, blue-eyed, porcelain-faced medium from Florida. I'm not going to talk about her sex life because I don't know about it. But you know what? Say hello, guys.
I'm almost there.
Hi, Pat. Honestly, I really am a lady, but I'm freaking the sheets.
Oh, hell yeah.
You see?
Oh, hell yeah.
This is a match made in heaven, Victor.
Tommy, you admitted something before in the chat room. Do you want to say it on air about your special gift?
My special gift?
Yes, your special gift after orgasming.
My special gift of what? Squirting?
Squirting, yes, squirting.
Oh, Blake.
That's a special gift. It really is.
Pat, okay, now, Pat,
it beats all the
Tammy. Pat, let me explain something to you. Okay, now if she is what is known around the sexual world as a squirter, I have a little suggestion for you. It's called the goggles, okay? Because the same way we could take an eye out, I don't know if you've ever been squirted on, but that shit comes out like a pin, and it can pierce the skin. Anything more than, now listen, you were in the military, you know about PSI. Anything more than 10 PSI could pierce the skin, you got to be careful. So what I would suggest is goggles.
And Chris, I happen to know that
that's how us blonde girls got parted down the middle with our hair. That's from y'all's ejaculation hitting the headboard. Wham! Permanent.
Yeah. What were you going to say, Victor?
Chris, I understand, Tommy, and you can tell me if this is true or not. I understand you're a member of the volunteer fire department down there, and you put out fires. Is that true?
Maybe, but it's $24.99 a minute.
That's hardcore.
I mean, because Chris said the other day, we were really good at faking orgasms. So, oh gosh, yes. And for $24.99, you get the
enough of this Harry Met Sally bullshit. I don't like the fake orgasm. There'll be none of that on this show. All right?
How do you know it's fake? There could be a girl down there taking care of business while I'm on the phone.
Well, I'll tell you how you know. Because when a guy is good at what he does, he knows. When that woman is shaking from the inside, she's having an orgasm. If she ain't shaking from the inside, she's full of shit. And that's just the way it is.
Now,
have you ever seen our asses on the dance floor? We know how to shake it anyway, whether there's an orgasm or not.
Well, I mean, some women, I guess, could vibrate down there, but most can't. I mean, really. Okay, Charlotte, I have a fact for you, and I don't want anyone to talk. I want Charlotte to talk on this. Mm-hmm. They say 10% of erect men their penis lay against their stomach. 20% of erect men are at a 45-degree angle from the stomach, and nearly 70% of erect men are 90 degrees from the stomach. I mean, what's up with that? I mean,
do you want to know which way I prefer it?
Well, I want to know what's the most common. I think hanging to the left. No.
No, something. I actually don't have a good answer for that. I'm not sure. I think it's different. It has a lot to do with age, and a man's erection changes over time. The way it hangs and the way it stands.
There is a mathematical formula for this, Chris. There is a mathematical formula. The angle of the dangle is directly proportionate to the heat of the meat.
I will say that
all I know is from the time I can ever remember having an orgasm, okay, it's always gone to the left, and it hasn't changed in 45 years. I know what our listeners want to know. How do you hang?
I hang to the left also, Chris.
Pat?
Straight.
I never heard of such a thing. Anyway, so
right middle.
What's that?
Right down the middle.
Like a fastball right down the middle.
That means
I'm a curveball.
He's an ovary buster.
Left, right.
Yeah, you know what the truth is? In the chat room we have Erica says, as long as it works, who cares? And I kind of agree.
And Erica also does a thing called remote viewing. In other words, she's be able to project her consciousness out into the world and see things.
Where are you? You're not on the phone.
And Pat, she's projecting herself into your pants, and she says, "You are huge," is what she's saying.
Pat, listen, I'm telling you, I can hook you up on this show. There's no doubt in my mind about this.
I'm all on it.
I'm on it, man. Listen, we go back a long way. Now, here's something. Now, this is important, fellas, and ladies. This is very more important for you than it is for us, okay? And I'm going to tell you why, okay? Semen has only 5 calories per teaspoon. Now, if we're ejaculating at a rate of a teaspoon per ejaculation, that's only 5 calories you're taking in. Stop complaining. I mean, am I wrong here, guys?
Chris, I did a little research on this, and Coffee Mate actually has 10 calories per teaspoon. So I say use semen, not Coffee Mate, and lose weight.
I'm with you on that. Pat, come on. See, now we can use this as defense now because they always, women are always worried about putting on
These are going to be the new Red Room commercials on YouTube, right?
Only 5 calories.
The other thing is, it's a very good source of protein. It's equivalent to about the amount of protein you would find in a large egg white.
Wow. Well, there you have it. Wow. And egg white and semen, it's all the same. Now, the other thing I want to say is this. Now, I can't talk on the male because I'm not gay, but with a female, how do I say this without being crude? Fuck it.
I'll just say it.
Women taste different. It's just, they just do. Some of them taste good, and some of them, you got to get out of there, Some you can go down with a snorkel and stay down all day, and others you got to run for the hills. Now, with guys, from what I understand, they also taste different. Is this true, Charlotte?
Yeah, this is true, and yes, a lot of women know this personally, but it has a lot to do with what a man eats. I've seen something called the better
pineapple,
tasting
baby.
sperm. Yeah, pineapple. The better tasting sperm diet from Dr. Laura Berman. She did an article on it on Everyday Health that I read a while ago, and she talks about not eating onions or garlic or things that would make your mouth stinky because it makes things not taste great down below as well. And to also, kind of just really take a look at your diet and eat a healthier diet. And
with the same thing for the women though, because I've heard. Listen, I remember Chrissy came over to my house one day and said, "Chris, you're not going to believe this. I was watching the Kardashians and they were tasted. The two sisters actually tasted each other's vajayjays, and one said, "Well, yours tastes sweet," and she said, "Well, that's because I eat pineapple every day."
Yeah,
is that really true?
A lot of pineapple juice.
That could be true, but it actually some of the components in semen are vitamin C, calcium, chlorine, cholesterol, citric acid, creatine.
That doesn't sound yummy to me.
Fructose, lactic acid, magnesium, nitrogen.
Well, you know what, Chris and Charlotte, one of the things that I've come to realize is that many of the women that I've been with in my relationships in my lifetime must have had healthy diets. They ate a lot of fish.
Victor, I love you. You just come out with them just...
Oh, God.
Okay, Pat, I got a question for you. I have a question for you. Percentage-wise, how many women would you say taste great as opposed to not tasting great? Give me a percentage.
You're asking me?
Yes, I'm asking you that when you go down there, you can stay down there because it's edible. I want to know what the percentage of edible to non-edible is in your lifetime.
Okay, 1 out of 5 is, God, they're rotten.
Oh, no. You're not eating enough.
That's terrible.
I'm sorry, but, I mean, shit.
Is this Pat?
Yes, this is Pat.
You got to get your ass to Florida, baby, because I got ambrosia. My shit ain't terrible.
Oh!
That sounds like an invitation to me.
Hey, I got a 29-year-old babe that enjoys it pretty often, and I haven't had any guy complain yet.
Wow. How many,
that kind of left you sports there.
Hey, Tammy, how many orgasms are you capable of having in one night?
In
what
one
were you
night?
asking?
Well, let's see. I squirt. I'm very comfortable sexually, and a lot, like over and over and over. Like I'm just, yeah. And once you've had one, I just keep going and going. And I'm a wall climber and a screamer and a hair puller. And if you're not in the right spot, I will grab your ears and smother you to death and keep you there.
Oh, perfect. I want you to put me where you want me.
You're not leaving until you're done, and I mean done. And I don't care if you're out of breath before me.
And, Pat, if you get in your car right now, you can probably be there in about 90 minutes.
Oh.
45, but physically 16.
Nice. Well, okay, so Pat, so now you just asked how many she can let out in a night, and she said over and over again. And there are women that can do that. There are women who are one and done, and there are women, who can't ever have an orgasm. So I'm going to throw it on you now. Since you asked her that question, we're going to ask you the same question. In one night, let's say a good night, a night where you're prepared, you had a few drinks, you're very sexually turned on by the girl. How many times are you going in a night?
Oh, me? 3 to 5, but I've given...
Pat, don't you eat? How old are you?
44.
You're 44. You're going to tell me 5 times in a night?
He's Christian Grey.
It's all-nighter. It's on, like Donkey Kong.
Man, I got some work to do, Chrissy.
No,
I can't do 5 times in a night.
Pat, I think you're fibbing.
No. It's
Five in one night.
Listen, here we go. Hold on. We have the Red Room Challenge. This is it. We're going to get Tammy and Pat together and find out who's telling the truth.
Yeah,
I like that idea.
Hey, now let me tell you something. I'm a pro at sexual NASCAR. You can ask Angela. Well, like, we used to race side by side and see who could come first. So it's on.
Okay.
All
Put
right.
you and her side by side, and I'll bang both of you. And
there you go. This is a match made in heaven.
Wait a minute. He wants to challenge Angela. No, that's a different story. Because see, I would put millions of dollars on Angela because Angela is a real Southern girl, and I mean she doesn't ride that 8-second bull for no reason. She keeps going and going and going and going.
put me in, Coach. I'm there. I want to do it.
I would put the lottery
Chris,
on that girl.
Yes.
Chris, if all the girls in the South were laid end to end, I wouldn't be surprised.
I'm telling you, I wouldn't either. All I'm saying is this.
Angela is a girl that would go
Wait, Tammy, hold on.
okay,
We have 10 minutes left in the show.
Strip
okay?
pool. She would
I have
con the
something to
whole
say.
bar into strip pool.
You got to come to the Red Room to get laid because look at this. Pat says he has a few women on the side. He has nobody special or anything. Tammy, I don't think is dating anybody right now. And here they come on the Red Room, crossing the line, and we have a sexual connection. There is chemistry here. I'm loving this. Listen, Chrissy just poured me a nice shot of Gentleman Jack. Okay. Now,
yeah.
Now, I love my Gentleman Jack. I'm going to cheers Chrissy, and I'm going to cheer our audience.
Chrissy's enjoying
and I'm loving this tonight.
And here's what I have to say. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Jim Wang, and this is the mating game.
Nice. Okay, I have another fact for you. Now, this is crazy to me. You ready? Mm-hmm. Orgasms aren't just for the living. If the sacral nerve and the spinal cord are oxygenated and stimulated, then there isn't any reason why a dead person can't climax. What? Dead orgasms? Are you crazy? I've heard of having sex with somebody who's okay, but to actually have an orgasm? Charlotte, tell me that's bullshit.
Seriously, when you're dead?
Wait. I need to hear from Charlotte. Charlotte,
okay.
Is this for real?
I did check this out with a couple of funeral directors, and nobody really could confirm that a climax after death, but they did say that the balls blow up really huge, and it's because of gas or fluid. It's called a hydrocele.
Yeah.
And it's also, if the penis is erect, if it does look hard, it really, again, could be gas or fluids. That there's really not arousal as you're flying to heaven that they know of, but it wasn't a question
Chris,
that my friend asked her boss.
I happen to know a true story about this woman who went to the funeral director. Her husband had died with an erection, and she went to the funeral director and said, look, his last wish was that you sever his penis, put it in a jar, and let me take it home. He says, madam, that's highly irregular. We don't really go for things like that. She says, please, this was his dying man's last wish. Cut off his penis, put it in a jar, and let me take it home. And he did. A couple of years later, her girlfriend came over, and she found that she had the penis in a frying pan with onions and some peppers, and she was frying it up. And the girlfriend says, oh, my God, what are you doing? She said, for 40 years I ate it his way. Now I'm going to eat it my way.
Oh, my God.
Sir, you get me every time.
Wait. What, he gets you every time?
You know what I mean.
All right, I have one more thing I want to put out there. Okay, a man doesn't need to release fluid to have an orgasm. Now, before you say anything, Charlotte, I have to answer that. That's true. And now Pat, who's on the line, who's saying he's going 5 times in a night at 44, you know that 5th time that you're going, there's nothing coming out. You feel like it is, but there's nothing there. Don't tell me there is, Pat.
That's usually about 5:30 in the morning, though.
But nothing's coming out, correct?
No, I've never had that happen.
Really?
Now, Chris, I happen to know for a fact, I did a study on this, men over the age of 75 shoot dust.
Oh, that's sad.
Dust. Well, listen. I mean, this is another great show. We've tackled the female orgasm. We've tackled the male orgasm.
Now, Chris, I have something else that I have to bring up.
We need to do a show on facts, overall sex facts. Let me go to Pat. We're going to say goodbye to everybody, but Pat, is there anything you want to tell our audience?
Well, let's see.
Pat, why don't you tell us how you do that 5 times in one night?
I don't know. There's a medical term for that, but
practice.
What's the medical?
I honestly don't know. There's actually a medical term for that, and someone told me that at some point, but I don't know. But let's see.
Priapism. Priapism
you
is
might
an
have a lot
erection
of
that doesn't go down.
testosterone. Some men have more testosterone than other guys.
I don't think
listen. I work. Back in the day, I used to work with these guys, and they were kind of like ghetto kind of guys, and they would talk about how they would have 6 and 7 and 8 orgasms a night. And I'm saying to myself, you know what? Talk that crap to somebody else. There's nobody having 8 orgasms in a night. That's crazy. I mean, 5 is pushing it, I would say, but 8, 9, that's ridiculous. Am I wrong here?
Most men have a recovery time of at least 45 minutes to an hour, what Charlotte called the refractory time.
Well, what I've always heard is in your 30s, you need at least 30 minutes. In your 40s, you need at least 40 minutes. In your 50s, you need at least 50 minutes. I mean, that could be, I'm sure that's subjective, but it's got to be close.
Chris, in your 60s, you need a pacemaker.
What is the recovery time for men, say in their 40s and their 30s and their 40s and their 50s?
Hey, Chris.
Yeah.
Do you remember Captain Rivera, by chance?
Yes, I do.
Okay. You remember he was in charge of the discipline when we were late to work or get caught?
Yes, I remember specifically. I was always in trouble.
Okay, well, I met his daughter at one of the dorm parties across from the chow hall. Anyway, she was legally blind. I took her home.
She was legally blind?
Yes, I had to walk her like a CNI dog. Walk her.
Goodness.
Walk her. I didn't know that was Captain Rivera's daughter, but you know the good cop, bad cop. Well, he's the bad cop.
Right.
Anyway, I took her to my dorm, knocked the fur off of it. Back then, women had fur. And when I the next morning, there was condoms over the vacuum cleaner handle, over the stereo knob. I just throw them off. But there were 6 condoms hanging off the place. Anyway, in the morning, I was like, "Hey, what's your name again?" And she's like, "Blah blah blah Rivera." I'm like, "Oh fuck, oh God."
You never got caught, did you?
Anyway, I just got the hell out of there. She was very young. I didn't know that.
Well, listen, that happened all the time in the dormitories. You know, the young girls would come in, and we had no idea how old they were, and they were just, they were crazy girls. And, we were 18. I mean, when I knew you, we were 18 and 19 and 20 years old. We were young, and they looked like they were our age. I mean, and who knows how old a lot of those girls were. So I know what you're talking about. And the fact that you were doing that when you were 18 and 19, listen, that makes sense to me because, I mean, so did most 18 and 19-year-olds. They were going 4 and 5 times. But here I am, 45 now, and I can't imagine me going 5 times. Chris, we got to work on this.
Hey, Chris.
I say as soon as the show's over, we get started.
Okay.
Hey, Chris.
Yes.
Listen, one thing I'd like to bring up before the show's over, we only have a couple of minutes left, is one of my favorite all-time words in regard to what our subject has been tonight is the word jism. And I always wondered where the word jism came from, and I did a little research. And it turns out that jism is actually a contraction of ejaculate plus orgasm. So you have j and the ism as jism. So I looked up the actual definition in the Urban Slang Dictionary, and it says jism, a nutritional liquid which emanates from the end of the male organ after stimulation. A tasty snack.
Nutritional.
Oh, my goodness.
Nectar of the wanker. Sally drinks jism. Sally blew the football team and swallowed all their jism. Sally's skin is so young-looking, she's just getting a regular dose of jism in her diet.
Lately, but I friggin' love you, man. Because
I love him too.
I love him because now this just gives us men more ammunition to come at our women and say, listen, it's a nutritional drink.
It's a nutrition.
Just look it up in the Urban Dictionary. It's right there.
It's jism.
You know, you cannot argue with the Urban Dictionary. God bless you, Victor. God bless you. That's all I got to say.
So amazing.
And Chris, all I want to tell you is that what you and Pat and Connor did all over those years ago, is you laid the old jism trail.
for the young airmen to follow. Yes, we did.
That's right.
Listen,
the old jism trail.
I want to say, Pat, thank you so much for calling in. It was great talking to you again, and I'll get in touch with you, and hopefully I can hook you up with Tammy. Tammy, thank you again for calling in this week. You know, you were controversial as always, and we love you for that. And
we love
Charlotte,
Tammy. We love Tammy.
Well, you are always just a wealth of knowledge. Victor, is there anything you want to end with? Because we're about to get shut off.
I just want to say that having our mutual group here together, it was one veritable orgy. Let's all come right now.
Nice. Well, everyone, thank you for coming to the Red Room and crossing the line with us. Be back here next week, 11 to midnight, Eastern Standard Time, and we will do it again. Thank you, everybody.
And, gentlemen, don't let your meatloaf